Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SportsZone. We are coming to you live from the North Texas studios. I'm your host, Eric Chiofalo. Coming up on today's show, we will have our 5-minute drill and our Mean Green report. We'll also talk some Mavericks basketball after Dirk surpassed 30,000 points last night. But we're going to kick things off with the NFL and the Combine that took place over the weekend. So joining me now to break down the Underwear Olympics is Jackson Donovan and Dominique Walker. Fellas, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Doing well? All right, so over the weekend, I loved watching the Combine. I always do. Who impressed you specifically? Let's talk about some Myles Garrett. Supposed to be the #1 pick in the draft. We got some running backs to get to. Who impressed you the most?
Looking at this year, it's kind of disappointing because there was no controversies coming out. The biggest controversy was that the guy who set the record in the 40 was wearing the wrong shoes. It's kind of sad. He didn't win an island purely based on his shoes.
Such a shame.
But when it comes to #1 pick, going for the last few years when a quarterback's up for #1 or a defensive tackle when you got two different guys, most of the time there's a controversy at the Combine. This year, it was Myles Garrett just kind of separating him past everyone else, and then, the pack followed behind.
Gotcha. You feel the same way? Myles Garrett at the top, big gap, and then everybody else?
Yeah, I definitely say the same thing when it comes to who performed best in the Combine. But for who impressed me, I would definitely say that Deshaun Watson was a quarterback who impressed me the most with his Combine performance. But I don't think that his performance at the Combine will affect his count in the draft.
Okay, so let's talk about the quarterbacks then. This isn't one of the most ballyhooed quarterback drafts we've seen, certainly in these last few years. But you mentioned Deshaun Watson. Is he your #1 guy? Do you see any of these quarterbacks going top 10 or even in the first round?
You can get it first.
Hey, you just want me to go so you can disagree.
Right.
I hate this year's draft class when it comes to quarterbacks. None of them, to me, are going to be what these teams need. And like San Francisco, they're at the #2. They have to take a quarterback. I've got Deshaun Watson going #2 purely because of his experience in the game. Trubisky, yes, is a great quarterback. He's got great raw talent. But I see him as Jared Goff all over again, where he's going to get into the game and struggle because he hasn't gone up against those big talent. Whereas you have Deshaun Watson, who has proven himself in the big games. But I still don't see him as a pivotal NFL quarterback.
See, and I have to disagree with that. I say Trubisky would be the quarterback to go before Watson. Because Trubisky, his play style is more to the NFL-style quarterback. He's able to sit in the pocket, and he's accurate in his throws. Deshaun Watson, he's good all around. He's not good in any exact position as a quarterback. He likes to run the ball, and he can throw semi-accurate. And he had a great Combine, but his play style, being a running quarterback, doesn't translate well into the NFL. If you look at Mariota, now he's doing better because he stays in the pocket. If you look at from Florida State, if you look at
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Jameis Winston. Yeah, he's doing better now because he stays in the pocket. So I don't think his play style is going to translate very well.
But you can't tell me only 12 starts isn't disconcerting at all. When you have a guy who's supposed to be going top 3 in the draft and he has 12 total starts, that's terrifying to me. If I'm an organization and I'm riding my entire future on him, he hasn't gone up against the top talent or even in a national championship game. He hasn't even had a New Year's Bowl game, whereas Deshaun Watson has been 2 straight national championship games. And even in the loss, he played well.
See, but with that, I'd say that because he's only played those 12 games and he's done so well in those 12 games, he has no problem coming into a new environment. Getting into a feel of position of power, I could say, as an athlete. He has no problem with that. Like, he has no problem coming to a new stage and performing.
All right, so you have Watson ending up with Kyle Shanahan, newly head coach of San Francisco. Where do you have Watson?
I have him #10 going to the Bills.
Okay, so you still have him as a top 10 pick then?
Right.
Okay, all right. So and then he's the #1 quarterback on both your boards, or you like Trubisky
I have him
more?
as my #1.
I like Trubisky more than I like
Trubisky
Watson.
More. Okay, all right. Well, let's look over at the running backs then. There's a couple of big names. You got Fournette, you got Cook out of FSU, you got McCaffrey out of Stanford. All 3 showed up to the Combine, did some drills. Did you like them? How do you rank the running backs?
For me, I have Fournette as a bigger body. I think he isn't better suited for the NFL. But if I'm a GM and I'm a top 10 pick, mindset of the running back is going to be big for me. And seeing Leonard Fournette sit out a bowl game and just quit on his team moving into the postseason, which is, for college football, you don't have many postseason games. And so to me, it's a really bad sign to see a player at his magnitude quit on his team. And then you have Dalvin Cook, who stayed, set a record at FSU for total yards, play in the bowl game, and do incredible, even though it was against the Jabari pepperless Michigan. He still had an incredible game. I have him going #1 as a running back over Fournette purely because of the mental mindset.
All right. I would say because of his size, Fournette will go in the top 10 in the draft. And it's kind of sad to say that. I do agree with some of the points you made. But because Fournette did quit on his team and he did gain those extra 10 pounds between him playing in college and the combine, it shows his lack of personal effort, his accountability to himself to keep himself in shape when he's not playing games. And you saw with his vertical jump, in some of the agilities, that he lost a little bit of that speed and athleticism that people expected from him. Luckily, he did run a good 40 time that kept teams looking at him because he did gain that size, but he was able to keep his speed. But I feel like overall, his performance at the combine hurt him in the draft.
Okay, yeah. See, I came away impressed with Fournette. I thought that he showed up at 240 pounds and was still pretty much just as fast as McCaffrey, as Cook. I think that bodes well for him, but I'm kind of a McCaffrey guy myself. I like his versatility. But let's look at this draft as a whole here. Which position group quickly do you find to be the number one group as a whole in this draft?
All right, but by far, I'd have to say the tight ends.
Tight ends, okay.
Yeah, tight ends definitely had a class this year that had versatility all throughout the boards. A lot more speed in the tight end group than you would think. With O.J. Howard, you'd see him with a size his big and running the second fastest 40 time out of all the tight ends. That puts him as the number one tight end.
Yeah, he's a freak show. All right, quickly, what are you thinking, Jackson? Number one position group?
To me, I got to look at the cornerbacks, especially whenever you have to look with people like the Cowboys who absolutely need a cornerback. And you've got someone like a Dory Jackson coming out of UCLA who proved himself and on average at one point in the season had almost 2 interceptions a game. That's incredible coming out of Division I. When you have as many teams like this, including in the top 10, you've got Malik Hooker and Jamal Adams in the top 10 for safeties. That's huge for this draft. That doesn't normally happen. Normally it's quarterbacks, running backs, and offensive line. To see that this year, it's great.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a deep draft class. We have a long way to go in the offseason. NFL free agency kicked off yesterday, so we got a lot of moves to be made before the draft. But thank you, gentlemen, for the insight. And stick around because coming up next, we have our Mean Green Report. Stay tuned.
Athletes work extremely hard to perform at a high level in whatever sport they choose to pursue. However, actual competition against other schools and teams only take up a few months out of the year generally. For the men and women of the Mean Green track and field team, though, it's a year-round ordeal. With the conclusion of the Conference USA Indoor Championships nearly 2 weeks ago, a lot was revealed about the talented group of athletes, although there is still more to be shown. The North Texas track and field team recently traveled to Birmingham, Alabama for the 2017 Conference USA Indoor Track and Field Championships. The meet was hosted by fellow Conference USA school UAB at the Birmingham Crossplex on February 18th and 19th. The men produced several strong competitors out of the field. Freshman C.J. Gilmore placed second in the high jump at 2.04 meters. The distance medley competitors put on a good showing as well. Grady Frazier, Zach Kirkland, LaFell Smith, and Mike Loeb placed sixth respectively in the distance medley relay at a time of just under 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Hammer thrower Kevon Kennedy placed eighth with a throw of 17.66 meters. Pole vaulter Gabriel McAdams reached new heights, clinching second in his competition with a vault of 5.02 meters. He has finished at least top 10 in 5 out of his last 6 meets. Hurdler Tavon Smith placed fifth in the preliminaries of the 60-meter hurdles, but fell to seventh in the final with a time of 8.38. The women only provided one medalist on their side of the competition. Long jumper Brianna Eccles won the long jump event with a jump of 5.95 meters. Eccles would also receive Freshman of the Meet honors for her efforts. Other notable performances include Susanna Lynch, who placed fourth in the mile run at a time of just under 4 minutes and 50 seconds, and fifth in the 3,000 meter at a time of 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Jasmine Martin also had a respectable showing in the triple jump, placing fourth at 12.52 meters. The team as a whole only produced 3 medalists but showcased several competitive performances. The team will spend the next 3 weeks preparing for their outdoor season, in which the men are looking to improve on their fifth-place Conference USA finish last year. As one season ends, another is set to begin soon. Several questions are begging to be answered for the Mean Green track and field. Will the team experience increased success or down production? Will the leaders of both the men's and women's side push the team to prominence in the conference? And will the young talent on the team continue to grow and get better? Only time will tell. Coming up after the break, we'll be talking pro basketball, Spurs, Mavs, and
We're back inside the North Texas studios, and it is time to bring on Josh Conrad and Peyton Russell to give us the lowdown on the Mavericks, and we might get some Spurs talk with our Spurs fan here, Joshy. All right, well, let's start with the Mavs, okay? Dirk in particular, last night, 30,000 points. How incredible is that?
Well, whenever you're in a class, another category, with only 5 other athletes that have ever been there, that itself is impressive alone. And just for Dirk, well, we have to mention Kobe did it with one team. Dirk is the only other player to do it with one team. 19 seasons with the same team. That is incredible alone. How loyal, how really determined he is with one franchise. You don't see that a whole lot nowadays. I mean, it's an incredible accomplishment. And to not mention, off the field and on the field, he's an incredible person. I mean, I mean, the amount of respect he gets from what he does off the field with charity and stuff like that, incredible. I love him, Mr. Dallas himself.
Well, how important was it, do you think, that he got to do it at the AAC in front of the home fans?
Well, yeah, it's always important whenever you do it. You know, you talk about some of the athletes that have done it. Last year, Kobe Bryant went off 61 points his last game in front of his home crowd. Derek Jeter, you know, did it in front of Yankee Stadium and from his home crowd. It's always incredible. Now, I mean, this isn't his last game of his career.
Yeah.
But I mean, do 30,000 against the Lakers.
Yep.
It's incredible.
It's awesome. All right, were you hating on it or what, Spurs fan?
It's tough for me to admit, but I mean, it's a great accomplishment by Dirk. He's had a great career. I mean, and for me, it's been the way he's kind of changed the game of basketball. What a big man can be. You know, you see LaMarcus Aldridge, kind of a skinny stretch four who can play down low but can shoot. Just to have a power forward who can shoot so well. I mean, I think he's changed the game a lot. It's tough for me to admit that, you know, Dirk this is an amazing accomplishment. It is. You know, like he said, he's a great guy, great for the community. You can't really nitpick on Dirk too much.
Yeah, it's hard to hate on something like that, especially a guy who, like you said, so good in the community, so good with the fans, just a good guy.
I mean, there's nothing you can really nitpick at him that makes him that you can hate on him for, no matter how good he is.
And he was pinned as being soft European guy. He overcame that and then won the finals, right? He put his team on his back in the finals.
When he almost got 30,000 in the first quarter, he was at 18 points. All I need was 20. I didn't think he was going to do it till the second half, but there he goes, 18 points in the first quarter.
It was certainly his night.
It was too easy for him.
Last night at the AAC. All right, well, let's transition over to just Mavericks in general. All right, they're looking really good right now. Since the All-Star break, they get Noel coming in. He looks super athletic. They haven't had a guy like him in a while down there in the paint. So I want to get your thoughts on, first of all, what did you make of the trade initially when the Mavs got Noel? Did you like it? And then what have you seen so far? Do you think this thing is going to be a good move for their future?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've liked it, obviously. You know, he's not, once he got on this team, he's not going to make them worse. If anything, he's going to make them a little better. You know, and how I saw it last night, you know, and especially against Oklahoma City, how he was able to play on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. You know, he does a little bit here, does a little bit there, impresses you. I like him a lot.
I love the Noel trade. I'll give Donnie Nelson credit there. You know, I saw the move. I didn't really like them signing Bogut in the summer. I thought it was unneeded. So I think to get rid of him, get Noel in there, you need as much young talent as you need. But guys, let's open our eyes here. Let's be realistic. They're 9 games under 500 right now. All this talk, oh, the Mavs are great. Oh, it's amazing. But you're 2 games out of the 8 seed. The 8 seed in the West is a joke. There's 7 good teams in the West. That's it. And here we're going. Mavericks fans are like, oh, we're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be great. Denver's better. Portland's better. Minnesota's better. New Orleans is now better.
Right now, you think all these teams are better than the Mavs right now?
I think
not record,
altogether.
Not the whole season, right now.
I think altogether, you put 1 through 12, I'll take any of those teams over the Mavs. I think the Mavericks, they're dead last in the NBA in scoring. They have great defense, 99.8 points a game. You know when defense matters in the NBA? The playoffs. You know who's not going to be in the playoffs? The Mavericks. So that strength isn't going to be there to help them out.
All right. Yeah, so they're not going to be in the playoffs. You're saying that now?
I don't see it. I think
so who's the 8th seed?
8th seed right now, I'm going to give it to Denver.
You're going to give it to Denver.
I like the pieces Denver has.
Sure.
I mean, the first thing you know, how this season's played out with the 8 seed, you don't have to be a 500 team to get that 8 seed. The Mavericks aren't going to overcome 9 games in the month and a little over a month the rest of the season. I believe they will make the 8 seed, just how hot they are. They got the Nets coming up. worst team in the NBA this season.
Exactly.
They've
had a nice home game stretch here. They've won 3 of 5 at home, and they got.
And I think they're going to win all 5 of them. I really do. I mean, you got the Phoenix Suns, and to look at their schedule for the rest of the season, they have 8 games against sub-500 teams. I think if you can win 7 out of those 8 games and then play maybe 500 ball against the rest of the teams. Now they do face the Warriors another time. I believe they face the Spurs, the Clippers, Wizards. You know, if you can play a little 500 ball there, they're going to make it.
Sub-500 teams, though. The Mavs are a sub-500 team. Let's not just talk about, oh, they're playing all these bad teams. Like the Mavericks aren't still categorized as a bad team in the NBA.
I mean, they just beat Oklahoma City almost by 20, I believe. I mean, they had won that game from the beginning, and they were able to shut down Russell Westbrook from the second quarter on.
Well, and there's something to be said for the way they're playing right now. Obviously, if you look at their season record, it's not going to be very good. But when you break down the last 20 games, they've added some new pieces. Seth Curry looks like his older brother.
Yeah, I mean, since the All-Star break, he's averaged almost 24 points a game. You can't really ask for more.
So that's the kind of play. They're getting different play now, I think, than they got in the beginning of the season.
We'll see if they can keep it up for one more month. As teams kind of start to crank it in that other gear, we'll see if they have that.
All right, well, Josh, we have 1 minute left. Tell me something about the Spurs. What do I need to know?
All right, well, let's get to real basketball now. 8-game winning streak.
Kawhi
Leonard, most 30-point games in the NBA. Kawhi is just he's amazing. And we talk about the 3 against the Houston Rockets as they beat a team who's actually good, has 40 wins in the NBA. The 3 was amazing, double covered, but it was the block. It was him running down the court, blocking James Harden. That's the effort he gives you. It's just amazing to watch him. Yeah, you know, in the MVP race, you got Russell, you got James. Their stats are amazing, triple doubles, all that. It's great.
I feel a big butt coming.
But look at the turnovers. 5 turnovers a game for both of them. You know how many turnovers Kawhi has? 2. Kawhi plays the best defense, and Kawhi has no backcourt offense. Tony Parker, Danny Green are non-existent offensively. Yeah. It's Kawhi running this. I mean, the guy makes shots all the time that just surprise me. I don't believe he can make them. Kawhi, I could talk for 30 minutes about Kawhi.
Yeah, all right. So you got Kawhi for MVP. Just give me a name, no explanation.
Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook. All right, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. I'm going LeBron James. You can't argue with that. All right, thank you, gentlemen. And stay with us because we are just 2 minutes away from our 5-minute drill. Welcome back to SportsZone. It is time to bring on Ronald Ephraim and Joey Catalano for this week's 5-minute drill. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing all right.
Doing well. Ready to talk some Mean Green?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So we'll start with Ron on this one. First topic's going to be on Ren Baker, the athletic director here at North Texas. He wrote a letter to Mean Green Nation, so we'll dissect that a little bit for the first few minutes, and then we'll jump over to the Mean Green tennis team. So let's get 3 minutes on the board for Ren Baker. He wrote a letter, Ronald, to the Mean Green Nation. What are some of the highlights from that?
You know, well, basically in his letter to UNT, he was basically just highlighting the good points of the UNT sports program right now, such as the women's head coach soccer team, the women's soccer team's head coach, John Hedlund. He's recorded his 300th win this past fall of his career, and along with that, he also recorded his 12th conference title. That's great news. So with that, you know, he gave him a contract extension, so he plans on keeping that tradition alive, keeping that going.
You like that move?
That's a great move. I would do the same thing. I mean, everything's been working up to this point. I'd keep doing it. I mean, keep him along. Only 3 active coaches in the NCAA have more consecutive winning seasons than John Hedlund, who has 22. So, you know, he's one of the best at what he's doing, so keep him around.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, you mentioned all the good stuff that he mentioned in his letter, but honestly, everyone knows that the Mean Green take a back seat in sports in the DFW area. I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, Allen High School gets more publicity than the Mean Green.
Why is that, Joey? Do you have a theory on that?
Honestly, I think that just UNT is not the destination for athletes that are looking at schools in Texas. You want to go to A&M if you're an athlete. You want to go to UT. But that's what Ren Baker wants to do. He wants to make the Mean Green great again. I mean, I don't mean to be, you know, cliche like that, but that's what he wants to do. He wants to get the best athletes here and win Conference USA and really have people take UNT seriously again. You know, I mean, you can't just be a mediocre every year and expect to, you know, oh, maybe one day we'll get a player that'll take us to promised land. No, it's got to start from within, and that's what Ren Baker's trying to do.
Sure. Well, did you see any other highlights in that letter that maybe make you think positivity here for the future?
Well, there's definitely still work to be done, and he mentioned that in the letter as well. He mentioned how what one thing that he's really trying to focus on for the future is improving our training and our training and nutrition program for our student athletes.
Oh, okay.
He noted that as one of the biggest things that we need to improve. So he's working on that, and I see good things coming.
Yeah, and he also mentioned building better facilities for the teams. He mentioned indoor track and field facility and a soccer facility being built. And honestly, one of the best things that he put in there, and one of his highlights, was that 198 students student athletes got a 3.0 GPA or higher. And that's a huge marketing tool for attracting students that want to come here, because at the end of the day, you're here for school. Yeah. And if you can say, hey, we have good sports and good students, can't really get a better recipe than that.
Yeah, for sure. They're athletes, but even more than that, they're student athletes.
Exactly.
So the
That's
fact
right.
that
And an indoor facility, right? Indoor track and field facility. That sounds pretty awesome. Do you have any idea when that's going to be coming up, or?
I mean, I don't see, UNT's not a big booster worthy school. So I mean, it's going to probably take a while to get some funds from that.
We got the time up. Sorry to cut you off there,
problem,
Joey.
no problem.
All right, that's 3 minutes. So thank you, fellas, for that. Let's move over. We got 2 minutes. Let's put 2 minutes on the board for the Mean Green tennis team. We got some good players, don't we, Joey?
Yeah, and two ladies that we can highlight is Maria Kononova and Tamuna Kudabiza. I'm sorry if I
Nice
pronounced
job.
the name wrong.
Nice job.
Yeah,
I think you got
they
it.
swept New Mexico State as a pair, 6 games to nothing, and then they're undefeated as a duo so far this year in Conference USA. And then Maria Kononova is actually building up a little bit of a resume so far this year. She's won every single set this year in straight sets. She has 5 wins over top 125 opponents, and they've just been an unstoppable force in the court.
That's good to hear about the Mean Green tennis team. All right, Ron, any other tidbits for us about the Mean Green tennis team?
Oh, really? I just think they should just keep doing what they're doing. Everything's working out well so far. We got the players you just mentioned who are, rocking out. Keep doing it.
Well, I heard something about these a lot. We've had a lot of these players, and you can see the last names. They're coming from different countries. This is it's kind of a new area for them, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest hurdles, besides just getting acclimated with NCAA competition, is becoming acclimated with Denton as a whole, especially from another country. I mean, NT Daily reports on the tennis team every week, and you got people from Croatia, China, Argentina. So coming in and adapting to competition as well as just life in America, in Texas, and then for them to have the success that they're having is really remarkable.
It's really impressive, and they're young, right? These girls that we're mentioning that are kind of phenoms, right? They're kicking butt here. They're young, right? They're freshmen, sophomores.
Freshmen, sophomores, and they're beating top 125 opponents against, again, D1 NCAA competition, and that's from a quote unquote mediocre athletic school like UNT. But honestly, it's just going to be how they keep adjusting to new roles in Denton, in the team, and we'll see. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit for this tennis team.
Sky's the limit. That's very good. We got 7 seconds. Anything important in 5 seconds? Ron, you have 4 seconds now, Ron. Give me something.
Win.
That's
Keep
it.
winning.
No,
Keep
you're
winning.
done, Ron.
Go
You're
Mean
done.
Green.
You're done. All right. Thank you, fellas. Thank you for the 5-minute drill. That was awesome. And thank you guys very much for watching us. That's it for the 5-minute drill. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. And please show us some love on social media at NT SportsZone. And check out my new podcast on iTunes called Nosebleed Seats. We will be off next week for spring break, so we will see you back in 2 weeks right here on SportsZone.